Hey, I might not talk much. I had a very rough day. Mine's been really bullying me. I don't want to like get upset this late, because then it's gonna chain into another bad day. So I'm just trying to relax. Hope you're enjoying your high frame rate gaming. Just checking this game out. Just don't want to play anything that's going to get me frustrated tonight. I was going to stream off the phone, but the thing was freaking out. It wasn't working properly, so. I started getting upset again. I'm like, I just need to stop. Might have to buy a new adapter for it. It's probably as simple as that. So it is Bravery and Greed. It's a action roguelike. We don't get many of those these days that aren't just generic Vampire Survivors clones, so I'll try it. Hey, thank you guys. I'm not really doing well today. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Been crying a lot today, and just channel's doing bad. The things I wanted to play for the channel just weren't good games, or they didn't run right. I'm kind of really demoralized lately. The holidays, too, make me very depressed. Don't really have a normal family. My parents have cut ties with each other completely, so obviously I don't really like the holidays anymore. It's just everywhere, the Christmas music and stuff. I'm tired of it. I just wanted to be on Earth. See if I can beat this boss. I don't really see how I'm a legend. I don't make any money. No one watches my stuff anymore. Not sure if I agree. I should be, but I'm not. recognize that, but my brain is so fried right now from... Oh, okay. I actually did know that. It's just my brain is fried from depression. I get depression fog. I can't remember certain things. That's why I don't need drugs. Depression fries my brain and us. That's why I'm a straight edge. I already get the brain frying from being depressed and anxious. I'll play some Streets X after this. That'll help me mellow out. I always have fun playing that. Game could definitely do without the stamina. Gameplay is actually pretty solid, but I don't get the point of the stamina. It's just like your guy gets tired constantly. I can't stand that. Definitely would like a mode with no stamina. Really ruins games for me. The guy is always tired. I'm like, dude, I have depression, fog, and shit. Like, I don't really get anything out of being tired in a video game. There's not even like any like deep mechanic around it either. It's not like Neo. You have like key pulses and yokai ability cancels to get it back. And like, you know, if you button mash you get tired, but if you use those mechanics you basically never run out. Not even anything like that. It's just your dude gets exhausted constantly. It's pretty rad. I don't really see what the point of it is, other than making you have to just kind of arbitrarily run back and wait. I think it's pretty lame. Should give you like double the amount that you have. Game feels pretty legit otherwise, though. Yeah, it's standard everything needs to copy FromSoft games. You need to be perpetually exhausted. I'm like, dude, I'm already an adult. I'm already perpetually exhausted. I don't need that level of realism, alright? I'm already perpetually exhausted. I'm medicated, I'm on antidepressants. I'm, like, in my 30s, like, dude, can I just, like, play a game where my guy just get tired? I don't really think that's being an entitled gamer. I'm legit sick of it. There's been a lot of games I've killed, I've flushed because of that. Yeah, man, I don't need that level of realism, alright? Just make the characters get dehydrated too while you're at it. You need to go get gas from the gas station. Come on, can you stop being tired? Why don't you just bum that off my account, dude? I told you that, you want the game... I don't really play anything off your account. And if you want to game share my stuff, you have to set it up again, because you upgrade your motherboard, Steam thinks it's a different computer, so everybody you're game sharing with, gets wiped out. You're more than welcome to do that. I mostly just game share with people as they're my friends or they helped me out in some way, financially or morally or both. I don't really play a lot of their stuff. But yeah, all those slots, I have 5 slots you can use if you want. Alright, let's see what their second boss is. Bosses that summon ads, my favorite. Great boss. Oh, that was pretty bad. Pretty good for a blind run. Is it worth the $40? To be honest with you, no. Not right now. PC more so. Console, no. The game is a hot mess on console. The TLDR is the console version is like months old. It also runs at like, feels like 15 FPS. Let's play something else. Main problem with the PC version is you can only do New Game Plus once, and they have like 6 characters in the game. and after you beat the game twice, you can't go back and do it again. And they're talking about having to patch that in. I'm like, dude, why do you have to patch that in? That was in the first game from the start, like the day the game came out. I'm getting really tired of that. And apparently, the physical version is basically useless because the game is jacked up. There's a physical version of it that's out in Asia and Japan, but it's the wrong version. It's months old. It's not really meant for consumers to be buying and playing. So pretty much the only use I could see for anybody that has the physical version is if you have the Switch version. At least you can, if you have a jailbroken Switch, at least you can dump it and preserve it. But uh, it's not. It's yeah. It was a beta. It's like not what was intended to be played. The way that people found that out was they did a couple dev streams earlier in the year, around like late fall, early winter, and there were like entire art assets that were shown in those streams. And then uh, when the game came out in Asia or Japan, actually it came out in Japan first. Those art assets were just like not there. So put two and two together, that tells you that they are selling something that doesn't work. It's not the right version of the game. I don't know if the international ones are like that, but the one that I bought was like that. It barely worked. It ran at like 20 FPS, was buggy, soft locks. I think $40 for it is a little bit steep. It's kind of like an expansion pack. You know what it feels like? It feels like, you know how they did like three Grand Theft Auto games on PS2? And, they didn't really call them sequels. People kind of thought that they were sequels back then. But what they really were was, hey, we spent like a fuck ton of money making this engine and stuff, and we need to make that money back. So we're going to make two more. And the games were definitely different. They did expand upon each other, but they did feel like expansion packs in a way. A lot of the same assets, same mechanics and everything. That's pretty much what it is. The city was made bigger. Uh, you played Yakuza, more than one Yakuza game, it probably won't bother you. It's kind of like that. The city changes. Things are in different places. There's more rooms. The combat is a lot better for one. But $40 for it's a little bit steep, especially with the bugs it has and like the stupid stuff like why do you need to patch in being able to play New Game Plus more than once? You have 6 characters in the game. Like you can't you can't like tell people to like stop playing the game. That's how I felt. So I beat the game twice, and I wanted to do like runs and stuff for the channel, and I literally cannot do that. I'd have to start from scratch. And I'm not going to start from scratch to play the game twice with different characters and then do it again. That's just going to make me get burnt out really fast. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. It'd be like if Chrono Trigger did that. The whole thing about Chrono Trigger, that was like one of the first games to have New Game Plus. The whole point was there were different characters that you could get and endings and stuff. Like, what if that game only let you do New Game Plus once? It just told you, oh, you need to stop playing. I mean, back then there wasn't even YouTube, so you couldn't even watch the rest of the endings. You had to get them yourself. Or watch somebody you know locally do it. Ultimate Alliance 3. Uh, that game was okay. It's not bad. The main problem with that game is it's a monkey's paw kind of thing. Uh, if you grew up with the X-Men and Spider-Man and like all those characters, you played the Marvel versus Capcom games and everything, uh, you'll like it at first because you see that like all those characters are in there. They have like a big chunk of the X-Men and stuff. That was like I think that was the first game that came out after all the whatever petty whining they were doing about not having X-Men in video games anymore. That was like the first game to come out after all that happened. So it was very exciting at the time, but then you play the game and they're pretty much all the same. The characters are basically just skins. The game just kind of crumples under its roster. It's got a lot of characters, but most of them just do the same things. So there's some that are just straight up better. So unless you have like some intense uh, passion for one character, you really like Wolverine or Spider-Man or something, or there's probably another character that does the exact same thing but better. Like Iron Fist. I like Iron Fist, and he's like barely in any video games at all. The last one he was in was Marvel 3, and he's like one of the worst characters. Uh, so I used him, right? The problem is Black Panther is like ridiculously broken in that game. So you wanna play, you want some diversity. You want a black guy, an African guy to be powerful in a video game. It's worth it for that reason. He has this like slash that he does. I remember I could like take off like an entire boss's shield bar, like doing that like twice. So pretty much every other melee character was worse than him. I think Black Panther is cool too, but there's lots of other like fast melee short range characters in the game. And Black Panther kind of just like there's no reason to use anybody else. The characters don't really have any unique mechanics. Most of the moves are kind of just the same thing with different animations. But Black Panthers came out like really fast, and the shield break stat on it was like nuts. If you built around that, you could just like make bosses not be able to attack you. So why would I use Iron Fist? Why would I use Spider-Man or Wolverine? And you get Black Panther, like the other ones are kind of just irrelevant. Also, the frame rate was terrible as well. The engine is really bad. They added like a danger room, which was like this bloody palace type thing, which sounds great on paper. Just take like your favorite Marvel characters, just put them in a room and just kill stuff. The problem is it ran at like 10 FPS whenever you were actually playing the game as intended, which is like using the synergy moves and stuff. The game was fucking PowerPoint presentation. It actually started making me feel sick and nauseous, so I had to uninstall. There's your review for that game. I played it for like a good 50, 60 hours. I regret buying the DLC because the DLC was just like, we're just gonna make this cool content with like not even really seeming to care that the hardware can't run it. The hardware is like struggling to render the game at like 240p, 10 FPS. I'm like, well, thanks, I guess. Maybe if you hadn't sold out to Nintendo and you had a PC port or something, I would play that. But I tried it for like an hour. I'm like, dude, this thing it can't even hold 30 FPS. Felt like it couldn't even hold 20. It was like 15. And it's supposed to be like this fast-paced action RPG, but the way that the game runs prevents it from being that. Uh, I don't know if you can get it for cheap. It's worth it for the campaign. The campaign's pretty fun. I liked how it was written. Although you kind of have to go into it expecting that if you care about story or your favorite characters doing something relevant, the way that the game is set up doesn't really allow for that because there's like a couple dozen characters and the campaign's only like 8 to 10 hours. So some of them just kind of they get like a cutscene when they join your party and then they just kind of become a blank slate that's in your party. Uh, if they did another one of those, they definitely would have to make the combat better. If you only had like a square string, a triangle attack, and then 4 moves, you didn't even like really unlock anything. It felt like they wanted to make it like this big thing where they have like all the characters you want that are like never in video games anymore. Like the X-Men hadn't been in anything for like a decade, almost a decade at that point. Last thing they were in was Marvel 3 pretty much. There were a couple other lower tier X-Men games around that time. So that was a big selling point, but then you actually play the game and it's like, well, they're all the same really. Uh, like Black Panther is just so ridiculously broken. Miss Marvel was pretty broken as well. Black Panther and Miss Marvel were like some of the best characters when I played. Miss Marvel had this weird, like, Tatsu thing that she would do. So to, like, farm stuff, she was, like, the best character. Because she had this Tatsu that would just, like, basically be this moving hitbox. And you could kill stuff before it even spawned. So it's like, once you had them and you had her and Black Panther, it's like, I don't know, what's the Scarlet Witch gonna do with that? Nothing. Stand there and not be useful. Dragon's Crown, yeah, that was a long time ago. That game was okay. Let's see, what do I feel like playing? I don't want to get pissed off, so I'm looking for something chill to play. I got an idea. Yeah, the older Ultimate Alliance games had, like, more depth to them. I think the characters are more unique as well. I didn't really play those games that much, but they tried to have a massive roster, but they're all kind of the same. And some are clearly better than others, so... No, I haven't heard from him in a while. And he told me to not give this out, so sorry. I don't care if Elon Musk comes in here with his Twitter money. I'm gonna have to turn him down. The dev for this explicitly said to not publish the link, so sorry. I would love to, but I run this channel better than Elon Musk is running Twitter, at least. Blowing billions on this. I don't know, the thing about Dragon's Crown was that they made the pro version, but they didn't fucking add anything. And then they're complaining about why it didn't sell. I'm like, well, you gotta keep in mind, Dragon's Crown was free on PlayStation Plus, like, twice, so... and it already ran at 60 FPS, so what were you expecting? Like, at least add a new character or gear or something, like... It's a good game, yes, but I don't know why they made that version. Because they gave that game out on PS Plus on, like, Vita and PS3, I think. It's like, people that wanted to play it already had literally, like, 2 chances to do so. So... I don't understand why they didn't add anything to the game. I don't really think that's, being entitled. You can't expect people to buy the game again when you've given it away twice. Like, you didn't add anything. I mean, they made like 30 versions of Street Fighter 2. They still added stuff. You know? It kind of sucked living through the tail end of the Street Fighter 2 era, because you're wondering if Street Fighter 3 was ever going to come out. And to their defense, they were still adding things to it. They weren't just giving you the exact same game repackaged. And it was was like pretty substantial stuff too. They started letting you play as the bosses, and then they added the new characters. And they added the super bar, so it's like I'd argue the most inconsequential ones would be Champion Edition and Turbo. But even Turbo gave you new characters. Dragon's Crown Pro is literally just the same thing. Odin Sphere I really liked. I'll probably play that again when the Vita emulator comes out for mobile. That game was really good. I did like pretty much everything in that. Really solid. That's right, Sifu is being released from the shackles of the Epic Games Store. They announced that this morning, yesterday morning. I don't really care. Honestly, Sifu is one of the least offensive games to get stuck on the Epic Games Store, because it doesn't have any online functionality. It's stuff like Stranger Paradise, which I bought earlier in the year. It really sucks for that game to be stuck in there. No one's playing it. No one really willingly plays online games on Epic, unless it's like Fortnite or something. Everybody else just like only goes on there for Fortnite and whatever companies sell out to them for the exclusivity. I don't really mind it too much, but I'm glad more people get to play it. The Epic Game Store is hot garbage. Yeah, being on there is not as bad as, like, Stranger Paradise, which has, like, an online component, and there's never anyone playing. It's already, like, not a particularly popular game, but then you have, stuck on a store that nobody willingly wants to use. So stop asking for this. I can't give it to you. I don't want to break his rules. It's nice enough to let me beta test this, so sorry. Seems like he's pretty close, though. I think he just wants to get it on mobile and everything first. I don't know if you guys knew, but you can play the entire series, minus Remake. Even Remake you'll be able to play when the Vita 3K Android emulator comes in. You'll play the entire Streets of Rage series on your phone, including 4. So this, the original trilogy, all the ROM hacks, and this. Be able to play all of them on mobile. Most like game franchises, there's like a certain cutoff point. They survive long enough to be in like the HT era. You can't play them, but now this speech you can play the entire series. There aren't many series you can do that with on mobile right now. Nintendo series, some of them, to a degree, you can. You can play like every Zelda up to Skyward Sword. Breath of the Wild to a degree, but you need like a beast mode. Switch emulation's not too great right now. Not for running heavy games like pixel art stuff, it's fine. Yeah, Zelda and Streets of Rage. Like the oldest Legacy series you can play completely on your phone. How'd you get out of that, huh? Cheater. I don't know, the Vita for me, I have like no backlog. I played everything I wanted to play on there and I finished them all. Both Tales games, Dragon's Crown, Odin Sphere, a lot of the other like action game exclusives. Either that or they came out on something else and I beat them there. It's like a solved game console for me. I have zero backlog. So for me, the main thing I want is 60 FPS patches for the Tales games. Because those games, they run at a stable 30, but combat is good enough that you want 60. That's like the main thing that I want. I don't really have an intense desire to play like unplayed stuff on there. I already played good stuff. Vita library is all over the place. There's a lot of really great games, but only like a couple types of games. There's a couple really good action games, a couple good JRPGs, Persona 4, there's Tales games and stuff. But then like most of the rest is just like visual novels and indie games you can play elsewhere, so... Shit, a lot of those games even have like native ports on mobile now, so... I don't care about that too much. Shit, I might commission somebody to make a mod for that. 60 FPS Innocence and Hearts are. I'd be freaking nuts for it. I'd go rabid for that shit. Yeah, and I bought and played them all when they came out legally, so... This track is so good. forgot about that game. Actually, it is one game that I didn't finish. I don't remember why I didn't finish it. Yeah, I remember that game being pretty decent. I definitely had a little bit of bias, though, because Guitar Assassin was what I played in the actual Ragnarok Online. And they had that in there, so I was pretty happy. I'll probably play that game on the mobile streams. Wait, is that game 60 FPS on PS3? Shit, I could just play that now. I got an i9 12900K in this thing now, so can emulate pretty much anything. Shit, I'm down. Best Tales games for what? Gotta be more specific. Gameplay or story? Or all around best package? Gameplay is a pretty easy answer. I have a tier list for it already. For the PS4? There's only like 3 of them. Well, there's 4. Berseria's alright. I had fun with it, but it's better than Zestiria. Zestiria is a piece of shit. Do not play that game. The game has like no redeeming quality but the music. Pop the soundtrack, but don't play that game. Zestiria is just embarrassing because between that game's release and Xillia 2, they said that they were going to stop annualizing the games because for a while, Tales games are kind of like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, that they just put out one every year, no matter what. And the quality started to take a dump. They said with that game that they were going to take more time and not put the games out every year anymore. That game was worse in like every way. That's like one of the few Tales games I started and I flushed it. I couldn't finish it. You guys crapped out like the best battle system in the series in 1 year, and then you take like 3 years to put out Zestiria and everything about the game is trash. I hope you gave Goshina a raise for the music, because he was like the only saving grace of that game. Everything about it is just a hot mess. A lot of people will tell you to not play Zestiria. It's one of the ones you can easily skip. Don't be fooled by the fact that it goes on sale for like $6 every week. The $6 sale for Tales of Zestiria is a trap. They're catfishing you with that, however little they charge for that game. It's not worth it. Go get a Happy Meal from McDonald's and a beer or something. Get a Little Caesars pizza. Even the dump you're going to take after eating it is going to be a better experience than playing that game. See, the thing is, you take a dump from getting a good cheat meal like that, it's over in a few minutes, right? Zestiria is like a 80-hour dump. Be like if you had the shits for like 4 days straight. That's what Zestiria is. Do not recommend. Rise is more like diarrhea that's over in a few minutes. It's not terrible, but there's better stuff you can play. I think Zestiria would have been as poorly received if they didn't have the audacity to say that they were gonna, like, not put the games out every year, like Guitar Hero and Call of Duty and stuff. 'Cause that's what killed Guitar Hero. I had a roommate I was living with at the time. He fucking loved Guitar Hero. He was obsessed with it. As soon as he would get in the door from work, he would play for like 5 hours. He started getting really tired of it because they put one out like every 6 months. It was even worse than Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. That's kind of the direction they were going with Tales for a while. Just like trying to make sure that people would get tired of it. Like Zestiria, I mean, when people say Arise is the best JRPG ever made, I'm like, dude, you guys need to play better games if you think Arise is the best JRPG. It's average at best. It also gets a lot of recency bias for a number of reasons. One of which is the fault of the company that owns it. The other is just the fact that there's not many JRPGs anymore. Or at least not traditional ones like Tales. I feel that game gets a huge pass because it's a JRPG in HD that didn't come out like 15 years ago. There's better stuff to play than that. But the other reason is because the people that make the decisions for the Tales games don't seem to realize that they have like a literal dozen games that they could repackage to people. People willingly want to buy them again. It's not like the Modern Warfare remakes and stuff that they keep doing that people like don't really want. Because it's not really the same game. It is in name, but it's basically just like a completely different game. It's not like that at all. People actually are wanting them to resell those games to us, but they don't do it. So, people just think Arise is good because it's the most modern one. That would require them to care about Tales, which they don't. I'm telling you guys, Tales is an abusive relationship. It really is. And I have a really good tweet. I don't want to tab out of the... Actually, here. I can save this game. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up a tweet from somebody in my community who pretty much sums this up exactly. Let me get it up on the stream. Luckily, I'm like not using Twitter that much anymore, so I could find it. Alright, I already found it. Alright, we're gonna pull this up on stream. This explains everything right here. Give me a sec. Get my smart selection up. This is from somebody in my Discord. It's an avid Tales player. Since this needs to be said, if you're a fan of a series, you don't need to buy clearly half-assed products in hopes that the company notices you. That's an abusive relationship. In case you're wondering, I'm talking about Tales of. How many times are you going to eat up the scraps Namco puts out? Support X to get ports remakes you actually want. We've already been there, done that more than 3 times now. Now some of you are defending the new Symphonia port that is a worse deal than what we got a decade ago. And then he points this out. The remastered one does not even have the second game. It's not complete. Yes, the second game is kind of like the stuff that came after Final Fantasy VII, where it's like it's there and not many people like it. That's very true. I'm tired of that cycle. I'm not buying the same game for the 5th time to get a game that actually is not accessible. Fuck that. Not even putting the remaster on PC though. That's the thing. They're selling the exact same thing. I think the only thing that they're adding to that is the cutscene skip, which I'll admit is a good addition. Not enough to warrant putting the game out again, because there's already fan mods for games like that. There's cutscene skip mods for Ocarina of Time, Mario Sunshine. It's not inherently something that we need the developers to do. Metroid Fusion's another one as well. There's a cutscene skip mod for that as well. I guess for speedrunning purposes it's decent, but not necessary. Community can already do that. That seems to be the only worthwhile thing they're adding. And I guess in their defense, having the Japanese dub is nice, because I really like the dub for Symphonia. It's a good dub, but despite how popular that game is, it's basically the FF7 equivalent of Tales. Like the most popular, well-known mainstream one. It suffers from cheap localization. The skits are not subbed. They're completely silent, so having the Japanese dub would be nice if you actually want to play through and look at the story again. I'll give them that much. A lot of people forget that about that game, but that game is not immune to, it's like one of the biggest funded ones, because Nintendo helped get that game out. It suffers from typical, cheap Tales localization, where they don't dub everything. It's not as bad as Legendia. Legendia is awful to play in English, because the voices are good, but they only paid the people to do it for the first half, so the second half has no voice acting. I understand that a lot of the greatest JRPGs ever made do not have voice acting, but They also don't have voice acting for only one half. That's why Legendia is never going to come back. I think that the only way that game would ever come back is if it was remade. They're not going to remake something that's already not popular. I mean, people are asking that game to come back. Like, there's no way they're going to bring that out now. They can't. Unless they, like, got rid of the English voice acting completely. I'm gonna get reamed in the reviews if they release something where only half the game has voice acting. I remember when that happened, people were in disbelief. Like, you go look it up. The voice acting just disappears. I don't really need voice acting. I tend to not always listen to it because I can read faster than they talk. But it's still something that's needed. You can't just not have that. Nope, you're gonna get Symphonia again for the 18th time. How do you restore it, though? Was it even recorded? What do you mean by that? I don't quite follow. What is there to restore? They didn't have the people in the rooms to do it. Like, they just stopped. How does that even function? Is it just Japanese? I mean, there's already an undub of that game, so... If you want to play it, it's better to play it in Japanese, unfortunately, just because there's full voice acting. What? Did they pay the voice actors to come back, like, 18 years later? I don't quite see how that's possible. I'll take your word for it, I guess, man. Pretty sure they just told them, like, look, you need to be in the booth to voice act half of this game, and then you're free to go. I don't know what there is to even restore. Oh, that's not any better, in my opinion. That's the same problem with the Vesperia remasters. They didn't fucking pay Troy Baker to come back, so... Yuri Lowell is supposed to be like this stable adult protagonist that doesn't have to go through the normal teenage stuff that most JRPG protagonists have to endure. Like, nope, he's got two voices now. He's got split personality disorder. even have awards for music? Like, the best music was already made right here. Why do we have music awards? Why doesn't Yuzo Koshiro just win it every year? You didn't even need to make new music. The reason why it's got his name down at the bottom, copyright on the music. Especially since a lot of new music, they can't even sing. It's all auto-tuned. I think stuff like this ages a lot better than more normal music. Under the new music, those people can't even sing. It's all auto-tuned. Or even worse, if they can sing, the execs don't let them sing, because the auto-tune is more popular. A lot of those musicians, it's always a big deal when they're like unplugged, they're not in the studio, and they're actually singing. It's like, well, auto-tune, you get control. But I'm personally, I'm not really able to understand lyrics and music that well, so I prefer game music. Like, non-lyrical stuff. Plus, as a content creator, it's better I'm like that anyway, because in trouble for playing shit like this. Playing like Grand Theft Auto and stuff is a nightmare. Some of the licensed music. I gotta get in trouble if I just play like this when I'm playing like DFO or something. Nobody comes after me. It's a blessing in disguise. Good fight! Oh, that was a perfect fight. You know, this weeb guy has like the coolest moveset, and then you look at him, and he's like the guys in the Godfrey Ho movies. Like, clearly middle-aged, balding, like British ninjas. His moveset is fucking cool. I want Godfrey Ho to come back and make more ninja movies. That would save the movie industry. Dude was ahead of his time. I'd rather watch that than most of the stuff that's in the movies now. Just don't give him any money. Don't give him the budget to do it. I want it to be exactly the same. Like, take like random Asian movies and then just put ninjas in them randomly. Be ruined if they actually gave him like a Hollywood MCU style budget. No, you still need to give him like $50 to make the movie with. The movies would be saved. Just bring him back. watch Godfrey Ho movies in my Discord. Maybe I'll start doing like little movie nights in there or something. I never play the Streets of Rage 3 route in this. I actually hate that game's pacing. Streets of Rage 3 is like better gameplay-wise, but I hate the pacing. That level where you're on the train tracks feels like it goes on for a decade. I can't stand it. I like the 1 and 2 routes. Streets 3 is pretty painful to play through. Streets of Rage 3 is kind of weird. Like, it's objectively better gameplay-wise, but the pacing just kind of drops off a cliff. I'm not really a big fan of the level where you had to defuse the bomb to save the president either. I remember that really stressing me out as a kid. But it gave everybody the run and the dodge, so like the gameplay is better. It's faster, it's more fluid, but I don't actually like playing through the campaign, which is why the game I was just playing is pretty cool, because you get all the mechanics from 3 and more. You get like ground bounces, OTGs, juggling and stuff, parries, but you don't have to play Streets of Rage 3. You just play 1 and 2. So, I think that's like the best version of best fan game for Streets, in my opinion. New Era doesn't really count because it's basically just 2, like, updated and stuff. The bugs are fixed and it runs better, and there's like netcode and everything, but it's not like really a brand new game. The remake itself I didn't really like that much. I like the music. The remixes are pretty good. The new sprites as well were nice, but I just didn't like how that one played. I think Streets X effectively replaces it. The thing about the remake is that you can make your own games with it and stuff, but I just think the base mechanics aren't like really too interesting, so I never really got the appeal of that, but if that's your thing, you can do that. Now, the Godfrey Ho movies are unintentional comedies. He would basically take, like, random, like, Asian movies from places all over Asia, not just, like, China or Japan. A lot of times it'd be other places because it'd be cheaper. And then he would just add, like, unrelated ninja stuff into it. And, like, he would dub over the Asian movie to, like, have some kind of thinly veiled plot, like, the Golden Ninja Warrior is stolen. Yeah, and the ninjas need to recover it. And it could be just, like, some random martial arts movie. And then it just randomly cuts into ninjas. But the ninja stuff is, like, hilariously just funny. And it has deceptively good choreography, too, which is the other interesting thing about it. Those randos they had in those ninja suits could fight. They could at least choreograph a good fight. They're terrible movies, but they're great. They're probably more fun to watch than a lot of the action movies that come out now, where everything is CG and the actors can't even fight. And like they stand there in the suit and then they jump slightly and then they cut to them turning into CG doing a super jump. That's kind of what the Power Rangers movie was, the new one, the one that came out 5 years ago. There was like barely any fighting in it, and by the time they actually transformed, they fight for like 2 seconds and then go on the Megazord, and the fight was like almost all CG. I'm like, dude, a Godfrey Ho ninja movie is better than that. There's actual fight scenes in those. Man, that Power Rangers movie was so depressing. I think they planned to have a sequel for that as well, but it didn't do well, so uh, they dropped the ball. They wanted it to be like a retelling of the origin story, but then like they didn't have the second one actually greenlit, so it wasted too much time on something that there's no build up to it. It was a pretty rough movie. Asia still puts out good action movies, but like the MCU stuff is pretty bottom tier in my book. As they mostly just cover up the fact that the actors can't fight with CG. But actually, the Power Rangers movie actually had that problem as well. Like, the guy that played the Black Ranger is also Liu Kang in the Mortal Kombat movie that came out recently, and he basically like came out and said that they wouldn't let him fight. I do not recommend watching the Power Rangers. That's like the last movie I watched in the theaters, and I was very disappointed. I think they did a good job with the character development. They made them like more of like realistic teenagers that aren't like perfect goody two shoes. The problem was that they weren't very likable either, and they wasted too much time on that stuff. And it was barely a tokusatsu movie. It had like maybe 5 to 10 minutes of action in it, which isn't a bad thing. There's plenty of great movies that like really only have like one big climax fight scene, and the rest is other stuff like building up to it. But the build up and then the actual fight scene was really disappointing. And it seems like they wrote the movie like assuming that it was going to do well and they get a sequel, but they didn't. So it's like if the first Spider-Man movie, the one that came out in the 2000s, if like that movie did badly and they didn't do a 2 and 3, you would have like barely any action in the movie. Most of it is setting up stuff. Like obviously they knew that it was going to do well, so they had the other ones already written and stuff. Yeah, at the end of that Power Rangers movie, they tease Tommy coming back, like the new version of Tommy. You see him in the school with the power coin, but then like nothing ever came of that. Surprisingly, the actors from that movie have done much better than the actual Power Rangers movies in terms of having a big career. They were all in pretty big movies lately, most of them anyway. Black Panther 2 was trash. I haven't watched any of the MCU movies, so I wouldn't know, but I'm well aware of how the fight scenes are. Like sometimes they'll have like an actual fight scene, but a lot of it is just cut to CG. It's like I'd rather just play a video game for that. If I want to see computer generated characters do cool stuff, I can just play a video game. And even better, I'm in control of it. I'm controlling it, which is way better than just watching. Yeah. Action movies have kind of taken a dump lately, at least American ones. And I think it's really hard to like justify even trying to make one when you can put out an MCU movie every 3 months and make like way more money. I'm surprised they didn't recast the Black Panther. because the actor passed away a while ago. At least they had the decency to not do that. They're already using AI deepfaking to bring back young Luke Skywalker, and Mark Hamill's still alive. He's not even dead. And they're already doing that. Imagine when he does pass away. It's gonna be like creepy pasta 20 something Luke Skywalkers running around. It'll be like the body of like an actual 20 something, but it'll be like Mark Hamill in his prime running around. It's creepy. Yeah, if you want to watch good action, just watch Tokusatsu. That's like one of the last bastions of good actual fight scenes. There's a lot of CG in those too, to be fair, but the thing about Japanese Tokusatsu is that it's filmed on a shoestring budget, so a lot of it does still have to be like actual good choreography and like fight scenes that are fun to watch, like no matter how old you are. Like they still crank out really good action stuff. It just might not be something you might look at because they're supposed to be kid shows, but I think that aspect of them is ageless. Can enjoy that no matter how old you are. Yeah, the American stuff is pretty low tier. Let's see, I want to play like one more game maybe. I'm glad they didn't recast him at least, because Hollywood is already crossing the line with the shit that they're doing. I'm like, dude, just recast Mark Hamill, alright? It's not a big deal. There's been like 10 people that have been James Bond. There's been a good like 6 or 7 that have been Batman. It's not a big deal. Just get like another white guy to be young Luke Skywalker. Why is that so hard? Instead, they're going great lengths to like do like downright dangerous shit, like put his likeness on some random guy's face. Like, dude, just recast him. It's not a big deal. How many Batman and Spider-Man origin stories have they done now? It's like no one really expects those guys to play Batman when they're like 70. Like Tom Holland's not going to be doing it when he's 50. He'll be doing other stuff. There'll be like 3 more Spider-Mans by that point. But for some reason, Hollywood's just like, no, let's just put his face, creepy CG face, on some random 19-year-old. Apparently, Harrison Ford was, for the new Indiana Jones, he said, nobody's going to replace me. Indiana Jones goes when I goes. I'm like, you might say that, dude, but as soon as you're gone, they're going to put your face on a 19-year-old. And they'll take your face from the first Star Wars, and they're going to bring Indiana Jones back. Hollywood has no decency at all. They're totally going to do that. It doesn't matter what actually happens in that movie. They will do that. They won't do it while he's alive, but they'll do it when he passes for sure. Shit, they're already doing that with Mark Hamill. He's still alive. He's not even dead. They've already used like creepy pasta Luke Skywalker like what, like 2 or 3 times now, I've heard. We're probably gonna do that with Keanu Reeves as well. Just make like another 18 John Wick movies and put like some younger, more athletic guy on, put his face on him. Oh, they did tributes to the actor. Yeah, that's pretty cool. At least they were respectful. That's more than I expect from Hollywood. Or just mention the shit that they've been doing lately. The digitally restored youth of the actors and stuff. It's like just get some young guy to replay him. Like why is it a big deal? How many voice actors has Sonic had at this point? At least like a dozen. Like they didn't expect Steve Urkel to be voicing Sonic until he was 70. Like that was never part of the equation. Like you do this for a couple years and you move on with your life and we get somebody else to do it. I don't know why the movie industry can't do that. I think it would be more acceptable. Let's see if I feel like playing something else. Oh, DNF Duel patch notes are out, I think. Really? Hey, maybe we'll look at those really quick. Let me see if I can track those down. Let me get into the game first. Let's go ahead and look for that really quick. Oh, they are out. Cool. Alright, let's check this out instead. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. Let me pull this up. Let me put some music on as well. Somewhat relevant to my interests. Alright. There we go. Let's see, what do we got here? I'm not going to read this whole thing. No, the dodge got buffed. That's pretty good. Alpha counter got buffed too. Let's play some fitting music here. Look at this really quick. Holy shit, you can dash cancel Mountain Pusher. You can jump cancel the kick as well. Yeah. You can dash cancel everything? What the hell? even Hitman didn't get any nerfs. Or Swiftmaster. I don't know how this will actually work in actual gameplay, but it looks pretty good. Not the usual fighting game patch you get. They just make the game not fun. They just like got your character and you don't want to play anymore. This looks pretty good so far. It's kind of hard to really visualize these changes without like video. Yeah, so it looks like the dodge will have iframes active like right away. Should make it a lot easier for the melee characters to actually get in, I guess. Looks like the alpha counters got buffed as well. Well, it looks pretty solid, I would say. See how it plays out, though. It's probably going to be the same, though. Probably overbuff somebody. Probably be like one character that's still way better than the others. Yeah, it seems pretty promising, I would say. think I'm done for tonight, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Uh, I think streaming was a good idea. I felt a little bit better after I turned the stream on. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to relax. I did sleep a lot today because of my depression and stuff, but might be good to try to get to bed at a non-degen hour, more than I already have at least. So I'll try to get on. Maybe later today. I wanted to do some mobile stuff, but for some reason, ever since I got the new computer, my adapter's like not working. The frame rate on the phone tanks. So for the kind of stuff I play on the phone, which is all like hardcore action games, kind of doesn't work. So I'll have to torch that plan for now. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed. Thanks for watching. See if actually got some leftover pizza at my neighbor's house. So maybe before or after I scarf that down, we'll try to fire up a stream and we'll go from there. Good night.